Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for round 6 out of 14 already. Absolutely incredible. Time has flown in a great battle that we've had so far this season. It's been awesome, and we are about to go to a very, very awesome circuit. It can get crazy around Jeddah. Saudi Arabia, welcome. Let's see how this one's going to go. We've got Samatson currently on the top by a fair few tenths, that's for sure. We've got Nifo who's going around the circuit. I'm not sure if they're going again or not, but PJ definitely is, as they invalidated on their run for now. So they will try and go one more time. Whether they'll get another lap in by going into the pit lane and coming out again, I don't quite know, but we will find out. Nifo is into the pit lane, and it's Zingy who will be coming back out on track to go once again. We do see Charlie retired from the session after another connection issue, unfortunately, so they continue to be plagued by such issues. But we didn't have a disconnection from Peanuts. We saw a crash at turn 4 on the inside line, and their car went out wide towards turn 5. Hopefully they can keep that out of their mind and then get into this race nice and relaxed. But Peanuts has definitely got a bit of work to do. 27.9 for Charlie there, and a 28.2 for Peanuts. Samaxon, as I said, the current pole sitter by a fair few tenths. Zingy's looking to try and improve on this one. We welcome back PJ for the second time around this season consecutively. And it is good to see them at a circuit that they really do love. Final corner is coming up, and what can they do? What can they improve on their current lap time if they can improve? DRS will be available, and up to the line it will be. DRS not quite available just yet, and it's there, open, full to the left-hand side, and across the line of P9, 28.7 for now. We will then go on board with the Scotsman as we wait for everybody else to come out and do their final runs. Good to see Heischler in the chat. I hope you are doing okay. Thank you very much for attending the live stream. We do appreciate it. Now, looking at last time around here in Jeddah, we saw Charlie get sprint pole as it was a sprint race event. We don't see that this weekend, but we saw a sprint race in Well, we will see a sprint race in Silverstone next weekend, which will be absolutely awesome. We, of course, last season had our brand new format where we had a one-shot quali followed by the sprint, and then an 18-minute, then the main race. So that's why the lap time from Charlie in that quali run was a little bit off. That's Zingy going over the limits in the S section right there. So they're going to have to go again. They do have an opportunity to save their battery, so it's not the worst place to invalidate, but obviously it's going to lose them a little bit of lap time and tyre life. Now, it was a 28.071 for Charlie in the sprint qualifying. It was a 27.285 for Sir Maxon in the main race. So we've already surpassed that time. So well done there to Sir Maxon. A 0.285 is done. We did see Nifo then win both the sprint and the main race later on. So can Nifo continue to basically own this track? They literally owned it that day. Absolutely gained massively points wise. Then we're gonna get a few cars going through. Zingy is of course backing off on this lap. We will get Devon Young, who is currently going through turn 4, and there's another crash! There is another crash, and from the seasons ago, both championship contenders of the F1.5 tier are out. Peanuts and Devon Young doing exactly the same thing, pushing the limits and finding the wall on the inside line. That is not the way you want it to go around here in Jeddah, especially in the race. So hopefully that is their final crash of the evening, otherwise it could be all over before it's even begun. That was an absolutely brutal collision. We see Igor get through cleanly this time, pulls it to the left-hand side, get as close as you can to that wall, riding the inside curve very hard right there. Try and keep it flat on the exit as you go now to turn 13. The bank corner used to be DRS here, now there's not. Now you're just going to go full send on the brakes. Fourth gear, back on the throttle, and open up that steering to get the traction down easier. And then we go to 16 and 17, the fast chicane. Very easy to get wrong, but really beneficial if you do get it right. Can be very fun, can be easy to ride on that inside curve and lose out, but they don't do so. They keep it nice and tidy. They get close to the wall and exit, and now they're just going to minimize their track distance all the way up to turn 22. Where you have a dab of the brakes, really try and focus on that exit. DRS all the way down here. The main overtaking opportunity into the final corner of turn 27, where you'll go up on the brake bias a little bit to just try and get a bit more stability. Braking as hard as you possibly can down to third, get that traction down exactly like we saw at turn 13. Open up that steering and then pull it to the left to minimize that track distance. What's it going to be from the race winner from round 1, P5, a 27.9, just behind Charlie. There's Sir Maxon, improves their pole position time. Is that going to be enough to take it all the way? We've got Zingy, who is going slowly. They will not be able to improve. We have got Niffer, though, on an absolute flyer. They're currently P2, and they've got their teammate to try and give them a tow. Is Zingy going to plan it out too well? I don't quite know. He gets to speed. They are going to get a lovely slipstream. Will it be enough? Into the braking zone they go. In 4th gear, they're going to lose out on the exit. They're going to lose a lot of time, and they've not got battery to really gain. Up to the line, what's it going to be for Nifo? A 0.7. They did lose it. They didn't shift down, and it's going to lose them a lot. What a shame right there. Tom will finish off qualifying P11 right there, and they will stay in P11. Wow. No, they will not. They will jump up to P9. Fair play, Tom. Fair play to Tom. But that is Sir Maxon on pole position once again for the second time in a row, for the third time this season. And we will go to the race director just in case, and we'll see you in a little bit for the race start. It's going to be awesome. Ready, hold, Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Zingy's on it. Nifo's on the inside line. It's going to be Samaxon still taking the lead. Zingy's going to try and get that, but there's contact between the two teammates. And Zingy will go through. There's going to be a few questions about that one. Nifo's not going to be happy. They've got to try and relax and they'll be good to go. Charlie trying to make the best of it from that qualifying position. P4, they stay there. Becken in P5. Brilliant right there from them for now. Devon Young. Then we've got Egapro, who's very close to the back of the Red Bull. Too close, and there's damage to that Aston Martin. Tom Rob's going to look to the inside line and maybe try and have a go. It's turn 13. It's going to be possible with an end plate missing already. That is really quite tragic. PJ's going to maybe try and have a look, but they back off. Luckily, it's Saudi Arabia where there's DRS trains, so if they can try and hold on to a DRS train, they might be good to go. Devon Young currently needs to find a little bit more time if they do want to get that 1 second time penalty range to Charlie. Not time penalty, DRS range to Charlie. They have a little bit to do. Not much, but it is going to be a little bit tricky. And we've got Becken, of course, with Tom Rob fighting right behind nice and closely. They're trying to sort themselves out between one another. I think the top lot are going to be staying as they are. It's about Tom Rob and Becken. It's not about Tom Rob and Becken. It's about Peanuts and Verf as they're going to go side by side. But Verf goes completely off and loses it. That was an interesting one. Oh no! No! The pole sitter! The pole sitter from 2 times in a row. Not only last time around in Saudi, but last weekend in Australia. Now goes to P4 as they disconnect. They're still in this race, but they're going to lose all of the hard work that they've just done to stay clean off the start and to get that top spot in qualifying. What a shame. What a shame. I do not believe what I'm seeing. I do not believe it. More problems for Samaxon with the connection. And now they're just going to have to hope that others don't lose out so much. We've got Tom Rob looking to the outside, but we've also got PJ diving to the inside. Turn 13 is going to be their choice of a move, but it's not quite going to work out, is it? Surely they're going to go side by side. Has to back off. He's on the outside line. There's no way. Tom just completely turns across him. Tom's going to be in a bit of trouble for that one. That was a little bit silly. Luckily, PJ doesn't seem to have any real damage. That being said, we can only see visual cues, so we're just gonna have to hope that there's no damage there for the Austrian driver. It's side by side momentarily as Igor goes off the track as Becken tried to make it side by side. It didn't quite work out, so Maxon still not in this lobby, having to wait for now to join. Continuing with problems at the moment, it seems, and there's not really anything we can see, so I think Samaxon maybe has had a complete cut. No, they're still around, so they're just trying to rejoin. Devon Young gets the fastest lap in the train at the moment as they lead the Astons. No, sorry, they don't lead the Astons. Tom leads the Astons. They're in the back of the train. The top 4 are running away with it. 3 seconds advantage that they have right now with Charlie from P4 to P2. Becken, 3 second time penalty already. Samaxon is now at the back of the pack and only going to drop further. That's a 3 second already to Charlie. That is an interesting one. Now, we have to remember, Nifo is going to have a few memories from this one. This race, they lost out to End Andrews after not overtaking up to the line because they thought that End Andrews had a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That was a bug, and they never, ever allowed anybody to stay ahead with a time penalty again. They always fought it late on, and they're going to have to make sure that they keep that philosophy today, even if it looks like it might be safer and possible for them to gain it while sitting behind. We're on lap 3 on 25, and Charlie has already got a time penalty, and Becken as well. 2 time penalty runners out of 11 cars. Absolutely incredible. It's going to make their races a lot harder. Devon follows this pack right now a little further back, but their teammate is really trying their best to lead this train. We've got PJ, of course, right there. Eager Pro's holding on despite having the damage. They're going to lose a little bit when they go into the pit lane. I assume they're going to want to try and get that front wing changed, unless they decide not to. It's almost side by side. It is side by side with the 2 teammates. Peanuts isn't going to try and take advantage, as PJ will allow Igor to go through. And For now, everyone is trying to relax a bit with the train as it is. So Maxon's still not able to join this session, unfortunately. We're going to try and see if we can fix this, or not fix it, but assist this. And I do apologise to everyone for this moment. But I don't believe there's anything that they can do about it at the moment. I believe what is going on is that maybe they're trying to verify their game files. That could be possibly why. So they're going to have to try and join as soon as they can and hope that they can get classified to finish this race. Because obviously, if they can't complete enough of the race, then they won't be classified. Zingy leads the way on lap 4, heading towards lap 5. Will they lead into lap 5 though? Because Charlie has got that DRS and is looking very quick. Would they try and go for the move? They're going to the outside line. They're turning the battery off. Zingy still holds on. So Zingy trying to maybe train this at this early stage. Charlie doesn't want to go through because they know that Nifo's going to probably go through and try and go for the double overtake. They will now go into turn 1 though. Will Nifo try and follow through as well? They will not go for their teammate and they will stay behind and let the train bunch up between the top 4. Devon Young is nice and close. They were anyway, but of course we saw just a few moments ago they're about 6/10 back. 4 seconds with Igor and Devon up ahead. So Igor with the front wing damage currently leads the pack. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. We do get some Maxon rejoining the session eventually. Good to see them back in. They are 4 seconds off at the moment. They can still try and salvage something. It is always worth finishing a race. You should never ever DNF from a race. Now, Igor has definitely got a lot to do, but they are in their most advantageous position considering the circumstances, really. Leading the way, controlling the pace. Of course, they're not going to gain to the cars ahead anytime soon, but it does mean that everybody behind can't break away despite having a full front wing, and they're actually fighting each other a bit harder than they're fighting him. That's Peanuts, who's trying to have a look. Left, right, they're going to go to the inside line, they're going to make it work. They're going to go nice and early, they're going to stay on track. We're going to get PJ going off the track for a short moment. We're going to get Verf maybe having a look. No, we're not. We're not going to see Verf having a look. Peanuts is on the hard tyres, by the way, so remember to keep that one in mind. We're going to get PJ having a go on Tom. I thought they're going to also have a look at the Ferrari, but they just backed off and they stay where they are for now. We do get a switch, just a momentary switch, as Charlie and Zingy trade once again, and it is just the top 2. It's actually Peanuts going for the move into the first corner, as Igor will not seem to contest it, at least from what we saw on the camera angle right there. And it's PJ now in P7, so Tom going from P6 to P8, Igor going from P5 to P6, and then Peanuts going from, that would have been P7 to P5. So a brilliant job right there. Verve staying where they are for now and not worrying about things too much. Becken at the back, 2.3 seconds behind this train that we're watching, but they are on that hard tyre as well as Peanuts. The 2 Swedish drivers are trying to maybe have a look at something a little bit later on and really have that advantage. Of course, if you can get through cleanly on a set of hard tyres, you can have a decent advantage later on if a safety car was to come out, of course. Now we get some Axon, 3.1 seconds behind, and they are back in this race, which is brilliant to see. It is very frustrating, but they're still with an opportunity to score points here. 2.8 seconds behind a 3-second time penalty runner of Becken. They currently would be looking at getting 1 point to their championship campaign, which would be, everything's useful. Everything is massively useful. Zinger leads the way. Charlie to the outside line is probably going to get forced by Nifo to do something about it, otherwise they would end up losing the position. They don't want to go really too far. It's going to be Zingy moving across to try and take the racing line. Of course, these two are communicating with each other, so they can afford to do that without hitting each other. Well, they should be able to. Whereas if it was maybe someone else, they might try and find an opportunity to go for a move if they were to defend to the inside and then move that late across. They've got to be careful with how it is done. Devon can spot that and maybe use it as an opportunity to get through, but they do go over track limits, I think, maybe. They might have just got themselves a warning. In the meantime, Becken got another 3 seconds as Sir Maxim continues to catch them. But of course, that tyre wear should change a little bit later on, and maybe that'll help Sir Maxim if they can get within the DRS range of Becken, because then you've got a faster tyre helping you out a little bit further into this race. When will we see the pit stops though? I don't quite know. We could see them in a couple of laps time, to be honest, if we want to see overcuts or undercuts, but with the top 4 being so far ahead, they're just going to be focusing on their own race. They don't need to worry about undercuts or overcuts, and in fact, actually, probably an overcut would be more beneficial to them, because they don't want to have to catch up to the cars behind if the other cars go for an overcut and they're on track, and it's a little bit time consuming. It could be problematic. Lots of cars go very slowly right there as we went into turn 27. Zingy now goes through once again with the DRS. Nifo gets the DRS, and they're going to possibly take the lead of the Grand Prix. No, they're just going to slot into P2. Devon Young can't do anything about it. With the massive train that they have to suffer from, they can't do much at all. They just have to let things happen in front. And that was an interesting one. Looked very tricky. They managed to sort it out between themselves. But, of course, Charlie trying to figure out what to do with the two Mercedes, who are very, very dangerous when they're communicating with one another. Nifo very dangerous around this circuit last time around, winning both the sprints. So it could be possible that they repeat history once again. And they've competed for the victory around here even more times as well. So they do have a lot of experience at taking victory and brilliant positions. Zingy has had their struggles. They have had their successes though as well. So they're going to look to try and remove their legacy of having issues around this circuit and make it more of an advantageous circuit. As the two Mercedes have now made it a 1-2, they're actually breaking a bit of a gap to Charlie right behind. Charlie has to stay composed, focused, and they could be good, but it's going to be tough. As you will see Nifo go for that DRS, they'll go ahead. Zingy's going to get DRS immediately, and these guys are just going to help each other massively. Charlie will ultimately catch back up as Zingy didn't have that DRS right there, but Zingy, I assume he's going to go for the move into the first corner. Charlie, I assume they won't have the ability to do so. I assume they're not going to have the ability to do so. They're going to catch up late, way too late. They back off, you can see it, and it is going to stay a 1-2 for the Mercedes team for now. 7 seconds splits this man and this man right here, but it's a big gap all of a sudden as the two Aston Martins lose the position to Tom in the meantime, and it's a 2.3 second gap that Peanuts has just managed to get from the cars behind. That is the switching up that we've just seen. Peanuts has definitely dialed it in now as these tyres are getting better and better for them. That's now a 6 second tyre penalty for Charlie. They are praying that a safety car doesn't come out at this point. That would be tragic to their race. What a shame there for Charlie. Another time penalty makes it even more difficult this race. Had a 3 second back in Australia. They crossed the line first, but they did lose out in the end. Got that podium, and it was Simaxon who took that victory. They're currently P10 and they're at the back of this train right here looking to try and get through if they can. So they are here to fight. They are here to score some good points. We do have a lot of time penalties though. 6 seconds to Charlie, 3 seconds to PJ Igor, Simaxon, and then a 6 second to Becken. That's a switch between Zingy and Nifo once again. But it's going to be very interesting here. Will we see PJ go for the move into turn 27, or will they stay backing off for now? They're catching up a massive amount. They are going to go to the inside line. They don't. They do back off. So they're going to go for it into the first corner. We're going to see Nifo and Zingy switch to exactly the same thing as they just did before. We're going to get Devon Young and Charlie switching as well. So I don't know if they kind of agreed with one another to do that with their body language on the track, or if that was more of a push from Devon. Devon a little bit scared of that inside wall right there through turn 4. You could see they corrected. They didn't want to hit it as they did in qualifying. They've got to make sure that they just keep that confidence and try and ignore the problems that they had before. Once again, without a time penalty, if they can repeat what they did last time around in Australia, they would give themselves the best chance to score the most points possible. Igor into the pit lane going for the undercut here. Lap 10, I say undercut. It's not really that far off the pit window, I don't believe. So they can do this for sure. And it is going to give them a good opportunity with, of course, the new front wing to show some good pace and maybe get an undercut. We also see, of course, Verf going for that severe undercut as well. They're actually 4 seconds, 5 seconds ahead. So maybe Igor had an issue that we didn't see later on as this battle continued. And we're going to see some Axon trying to go for a double overtake here down into turn 27 and then dive into the pit lane as well. That would be pretty impressive if they do try and get it done. We're going to see the Aston Martin maybe going for a move, but they're not really going to push it too much. They're looking to try and fight with DRS, it seems here, but PJ will take the advantage for now. On the exit, it's going to be a big loss of traction. It's going to be Tom into the wall, and that is very unfortunate. We're going to see PJ immediately dive to the pit lane, and Tom is going to be doing exactly the same thing, and that is really quite frustrating right there. We're going to see Zingy and Charlie go into the pit lane. Devon and Niffa will stay out. They're going to be trying to work together to make sure they lose as least a little time as possible. We're going to get Becken, who hasn't made a pit stop, and they're going to be right behind these guys, hopefully getting DRS for their race with the cold tyre runners ahead. Will that be possible? I don't quite know in F1 24. As you can see, the tyre advantage that they will have despite having cold tyres, 8/10. Becken trying to use all the battery they can to hold on a little bit more. They might be able to do it, you know. They might be able to do it on the exit, pushing on that battery if they would. It's so close. I think they're just going to miss out. A brilliant effort right there from Becken to try and hold on to DRS, but with that tyre, it's just not really going to work out. It's going to be so tough, and it isn't going to happen. But good effort. Still trying to stay in this race, and they could score some good points here. That is Tom, of course, with that damage right there, and they didn't get a front wing repair from the game, unfortunately, due to it being so late, I believe. So their race has really been quite negatively affected. It's going to be Igor, who has that front wing, catching up and looking to try and make a move sooner rather than later. They won't get the DRS until the start-finish straight, but Tom might go into the pit lane by that time. We're going to get Devon Young and Nifo into the pit lane. Peanut stays out on that hard tyre. Where will these guys come out? According to Becken, they're definitely going to drop behind Zingy and Charlie, who are working together as a train. We're going to see, oh, I say that, it's actually a lot closer than I expected. We've got Devon Young on the cold tyres trying to keep it in a straight line as he wants to get ahead of Zingy, but it didn't quite work out. That is actually a brilliant overcut from these guys. If they can find that temperature nice and quickly, they can have a lap advantage and still get that DRS, which is going to be very nice indeed to have later on. It would just be such an advantage mentally and physically. 6/10, they've got that DRS. They are good to go. Brilliant stuff right there from Niffa and Devon. Of course, they've lost track position, and it seems that 4th spot in the train is very disadvantageous that we saw from Devon, who was just stuck behind. Maybe they were waiting though, I don't quite know. Devon, 1 second all of a sudden has dropped out of DRS range. They catch up a little bit more now, so they might be able to get it back, but actually we're going to have to look at Nifo getting a slingshot here instead, because Devon won't get the DRS. Nifo will have to go through into turn 27 and then go for that move. The outside line they'll choose, as Devon will just hold it to the inside, and the slingshot attempt here is going to be a little bit difficult. As you could see, Charlie knew what to do. They could see what was going on behind them, and what they had to do is just push and push and push and push and allow, or not allow, and prevent Nifo's teammate from backing them up and allowing Nifo to get back into this train, because instead Zingy can't fight. They just have to let it happen, and Charlie can control the pace now. And all of a sudden, you've got a 1.7 second gap and a severe advantage. So it looked like it was going to be close. They had the DRS. They didn't have the ERS, as they just used it all on their in-lap. And that would have explained how close they were. But now they've got a lot of work to do. What will we see from this situation here? Now, Zingy has an opportunity. He's got a gap between himself and the cars behind. He's got the ability to be able to win this race with Charlie having a 6-second time penalty. Let's be honest, getting a 6-second time penalty, the chances of you removing both of those time penalties is incredibly slim. And I don't believe we've seen Charlie be pushed off the circuit. So I think those will both stand. Now, what I'm saying here is if Zingy can avoid allowing Devon and Nifo to catch back up, they can take a decent victory. They can work with Charlie here, because Charlie's going to have their best interests of working together as well to try and reduce the impact of this time penalty. So Nifo has got to try and fight Devon in a 1v1 to the line. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a grueling one. They've got to try and work together for now, but I think later on their mindsets will switch, and I don't know if they will really have an opportunity of catching the top two. The top two are just going to be a little bit too powerful here. Would it be in Charlie's best interests for them to try and break away with Zingy? Or would it be in their best interest to maybe force Zingy to lose a position or two to Devon and Nifo for the championship? I don't quite know what they would be thinking, but I think they want to just try and score as many points as they can. It would mean that Zingy would get a 4-point advantage instead of maybe a 2 if they played it outright, but it's probably the safer opportunity, the safer bet, especially at this stage of the Grand Prix. Now we've got two trains, of course. We've got the lead train right here. Then we have the P3 and 4 train. I say P3 and 4 because that is the net P3 and 4 runners, with Peanuts currently leading the Grand Prix with those worn tyres 5 seconds ahead. I don't see a world where it's impossible that we're going to get Peanuts trying to slow down the lead cars to help Sir Maxon get any advantage they can from their issues earlier on. They now lead in P6. I say lead the train. The train has pretty much broken apart. Peanuts not being in that train. Sir Maxon getting ahead of Verf as well. That's Nifo getting ahead of Devon, and it will be Zingy potentially trying to get through on Charlie into turn 1. Verf 2.4 seconds behind Sir Maxon, the championship leader, and then it's PJ who is currently 2 seconds behind Verf. So that is all split up further behind. We're going to get Peanuts going into the pit lane, focusing on their own race and more of the constructors here. Now we're currently seeing the constructors 17 points in the lead, with Ferrari ahead of Mercedes. This is going to be potentially a good weekend for the Mercedes team, and it's what the two Ferraris have to try and focus on. They have to maximise their points, and currently, given the situation that they're in, they are maximising their points. That's the fastest lap there for Becken. That's a 9-second time penalty now going to Charlie, and 2.6 seconds to Nifo from Charlie. So actually, not only has Charlie got another time penalty, but Nifo and Devon Young have been catching or maintaining that gap nicely. So Charlie's race has got even worse from this point onwards, which is such a shame. It is such a shame. Becken gets the 3-second as well in the meantime. Now, as of the Singapore Grand Prix, the reports being submitted and reviewed and published, Zingy is 16 points behind Sir Maxon. A win is 20 points, and currently Sir Maxon would be on cue to get 10 points. So a 10-point advantage would be gained by Zingy if everything was to stay as it is now. Peanuts, of course, is close to their teammate. Peanuts doesn't have a time penalty, and Peanuts also is on a better tyre. Will they try and go for the maximum amount of points for the team? I don't quite know, but they're 9 seconds away from the other cars. Devon Young and Nifo continue to try and train and work together, as it's now 2.8 seconds. It's fluctuating up and down a little bit, but we're going to get Zingy and Charlie not splitting up, but Charlie's definitely not hanging around. They're trying to push to their maximum. I think they're trying to break away that 6-second time penalty, but then they've ended up getting that extra 9. So you can still see that they're trying to just push as much as they can, but if they're really to lose out so much, then they could be in trouble. Look at the gaps right here. Let's have a look at the gap to the leader. 12 seconds. So Peanuts could actually get within that 9-second time penalty range and all of a sudden finish P4 instead of P5 if they try and get ahead of their teammates. So I think they do have something to gain here does Peanuts, if they do go for that move on their teammate, would they try and return it later on? I don't quite know, but they would get 2 points to that Constructors, which would be very nice indeed. So it's really about what Peanuts wants to do. They're not communicating, they'll just have that brain cell synergy that they're sharing with one another to try and make sure that they're connected in the mind and getting the best result as they possibly can. That's a little bit of lobby lag, it seems, right there, as everyone went quite slowly. Hopefully that is all we get. I do see that there was a bit of drop there, so I do apologise for that, but hopefully that is all we have. And once again, we will see Nifo and Devon trying to work together. That being said, there is some lag going on. I do apologise for this, but I do believe that everyone else isn't being affected. That being said, Devon has just now got a 6/10 gap, so they maybe were affected. We'll review this one after the race. Lap 17 out of 25, we've not got long to go in this Grand Prix. 8.5 laps. Alright, 3.5 seconds. They've lost just under a second here to the cars ahead. That is the force of Zingy and Charlie at the moment. They're doing a brilliant job. Alrighty. That is Devon Young and Nifo switching positions as Zingy now leads the Grand Prix ahead of the pole. It's Peanuts who doesn't opt to go for the move ahead of their teammate here. So, an interesting call. A lap later, Sir Maxon pitted to the leaders. So they're on the same tyre wear, or tyre age I should say, not tyre wear necessarily, to Devon and Nifo. Looking at the gap to the leader once again. That's a 12.4 second gap. Realistically, Peanuts needs to try and get ahead and use this medium tyre to push. And then if they feel comfortable that they can push, because they've caught up. They've caught up to some Maxon, so they've obviously got pace in that car. They need to try and use this now to help Sir Maxon gain if they are going to try and stay behind their teammate for later on. But, of course, you've got a time penalty, so you're going to have to drop even further. Currently, Peanuts may as well make that move and see what's possible, because we've not got long in this race to go. They've just got to try and ready themselves to make that move and then try and maintain that pace for the next couple of laps. But they will have that advantage on that medium tyre. They pitted quite late to try and get the benefit of this medium tyre. They're going to get a lovely amount of DRS, and they are going to get a clear opportunity into the first corner. It's just whether they'll take it or not. Nifo goes ahead of Devon Young once again, but they are almost 5 seconds behind. We will see Peanuts go for the move. The outside line will be theirs. Sir Maxon will let that happen, and it is now going to be the medium tyre run to try and maximise the pace here for the Ferraris. They're going to try and break away or make sure that they've got a safety gap to the cars behind, and they're also going to try and see if they can catch up to Charlie's 9-second time penalty, because that would be a hell of a feat if they could do such a thing. Peanuts would get that extra position. Whether Sir Maxon would want that or not, I don't quite know, because they've got 3 seconds, so they've got to get within 6 seconds, not 9. It's a lot harder to do that. That gap again, we just double check it at 12.2, so they've got to get about 3.5 seconds realistically, and that's considering that, or hoping that their tyres don't die off later on in this race. Nifo and Zingy, 4.7 seconds. I say Nifo and Zingy, it's Nifo and Devon, currently 4.7 seconds. Back 7/10 ahead is the Scotsman of Charlie, who is currently just trying to do everything they can to minimise the damage in this race. That is Peanuts getting a 3 second. All of a sudden it changes. And definitely they're going to be looking at maybe doing something a little bit different. It's a shame. They can now focus on training one another, and they are equal on time penalties, equal on track. That medium tyre should still be quicker at this point though. DRS, would they try and use it to retake that Ferrari and gain once again? I don't quite know, but it looks like they are just going to stay back for now. That will be them staying where they are. P5 and 6 for the Ferraris. 18 points it would be to their championship, which would be brilliant considering, of course, Maxon had that disconnect earlier on. They've done a phenomenal job to get themselves back into this position, not giving up, as they didn't give up back in Australia. They were last in Australia. They went on to win that race. They ended up last here. It's not looking so simple, unfortunately, but it is a very, very good opportunity, of course. Now, looking at the fastest laps, I just wanted to have a quick peek at that. It is Peanuts of a 29.338. Tom Robb would definitely have a consideration to try and have a go at getting that one back immediately, because they are currently 19 seconds behind after the pit stop issues, of course, they had with the damage that they got from the collision with PJ. A very unfortunate collision on the exit of the corner, quite a common one that you see if you try and stick on the inside line of another car. They do have a tendency to lose traction on exit when they're trying to race, and it can happen. So it's a big shame, but they've continued and done their best. Charlie and Zingy switch positions. Will Zingy go for that move once again? They will do so. Turning off the battery is the Racing Bull, and Zingy will move into P1 yet again. Lap 21 out of 25. Realistically, there is no reason for these two to fight here, but will Charlie want to try and get it on track? Will they try and go for that glory? I'm sure they're going to have a little bit of a look at it. That's definitely for sure. Ziggy's not going to want to let it happen, but he doesn't need to worry if it doesn't happen, of course. 4.9 seconds. If NIFA was to stay where it is now, or where they are now, they would end up finishing 1-2 for Mercedes. Devon Young is going to be the biggest deciding factor in whether that happens or not. Charlie's looking at a possible P4 if that stays as it is. Devon has had P5, P4, I think a P5, and then a P... Oh, I can't remember what the other position was. I'm going to have to double check that one really quickly. P5, P4, P5, P9, and a P3. So they had a podium already. They're going to try and make it another podium. Just whether is it an extra P3 or is it going to be a P2 this time here under the lights. And we're coming to the closing stages of this Grand Prix now. No safety cars have been deployed compared to last time around in Australia. A brilliant effort from everyone. In qualifying, we had a few DNFs. So far, we've had none. And I'm happy to say that for sure. It does mean it's a lot easier, of course, for the drama, for the ticker, for the heart. Of course, it does mean that those that do suffer don't catch up as easy, but they still try and stay in it for now. We're coming to the next lap, and it would be impossible for a safety car to be deployed. So, of course, for the race leaders, they're just hoping that they can go a little bit longer and a safety car doesn't come out. That's another time penalty there for Sir Maxon. So now Peanuts either stays where they are and gets those points for the Constructors, or for the Team's Championship, I should say, or they drop 3 seconds behind their teammate and allow their teammate to gain those extra 2 points for the drivers. What will they be doing here? Will they be trying to do what they can do for themselves? I'm sure there's going to be a few questions that they will be asking themselves as they're not communicating with one another. Becken gets another 3 seconds in this race. We will double check very quickly as Charlie pushing as hard as they can. Tom Robb gets a 3 second as well. Looking at the time penalties, as you can see, 9 seconds, 6 seconds, 3 seconds, 6 seconds, 6 seconds, 18 seconds, and 3 seconds there for Tom Robb at the back of the pack. Tyres we will stay on with though now. Peanuts' tyres will be getting towards a bit of a lull stage here, but they're not going to be struggling, of course, up to the end of this Grand Prix because they've been going so late into their first stint. Oh, that's Charlie going off right there as there's a little bit of wiggling and moving as they're maybe trying to communicate with one another. I don't know if they're frustrated or whatsoever, but yeah, Charlie, a lot of battery in that car at the moment. Zingy has broken away all of a sudden as Charlie made that mistake, and he's definitely decided to push the car a little bit more. But there's something wrong here. I don't quite know. I couldn't really get to see. No damage with Zingy's car, no damage with Charlie's car. So something that hopefully we can find out in the interviews after this race. We will not be getting a safety car in this Grand Prix, which is absolutely awesome for Saudi Arabia. Usually it's a big, a much different story, but it's not this time around. Now, this is the battle that we have to focus on. We've got a couple of things. Of course, we want to see what Zingy and Charlie will do to settle it on track. It looks like Zingy's going to try and make it work earlier on. We're going to get Nifo and Devon Young, however, fighting of the 1v1 for the podium. Which spot on the podium, I don't quite know, but they both are on target to get a podium. We're going to get Peanuts and Samaxon deciding whether they will be finishing ahead of one another, so that's going to be a little bit of a question that we have to ask. We're going to get Verf and Igor possibly fighting on track as well. So 1.3 seconds, Charlie catches up nicely to the Scotsman, but Nifo, are they going to try and lead on lap 24 to 25? They're not going to, so they're going to go for the long haul, and they're going to try and stay back now up to the very final few moments onto lap 25. I cannot wait. It's going to be a bit of a pressure cooker for the next few moments. So Maxon has made that move ahead of their teammate and hoping that their teammate drops back, but Peanuts doesn't need to. They don't need to if they don't want to. They can do, but they can stay where they are. 7/10. Those tyres are definitely going to be a lot older, and I think Samaxon is probably going to be trying to push it to break away from his teammate, as you can see, just to make sure that they get that job done. Peanuts doesn't have much battery to fight back, so it might be that Samaxon has the ability to break away here anyway with the tyre and energy advantage that they will have. We're going to get Verve, though, nice and close. Will they fight hard in the final moments? We'll find out. Now, Zingy leads the way onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. A 1.1 second gap advantage that he has. Charlie has brought it back absolutely masterfully. Will they get DRS in the final moments? That would be a brilliant effort to do so. I really sure do hope so, that we get a battle up to the line. A brilliant effort, though. Very well deserved there for Charlie. It's going to be Devon Young ahead of Nifo. And look at this. Look at this. Wow, what a gap. What a gap. Sir Maxon and Peanuts have gained massively. They can do what they want. They've got time penalties. They don't really have a reason to fight each other, but these guys travelling so slowly to try and finish ahead of one another have now brought the Ferraris back into it. Absolutely incredible scenes here in Saudi Arabia as we come to the closing stages of the Grand Prix. And actually, will it be possible, maybe, for Peanuts to make that move on Charlie? It's not. It's not going to be possible with the time penalties as they are, but it was a good effort. Oh wow, I am very nervous for this one. Zingy and Charlie will stay as they are, and we will watch on board with the Scotsman very shortly. It's a big mistake there for Devon as the pressure is building. The DRS is available, but Nifo's not going to want to go for that move and just tucking in behind the Red Bull. They have to tuck in behind the Red Bull, and then they're going to either dart into turn 27 or on the exit. Devon makes a mistake and gets a 3 second in the last possible moment, and Peanuts might have an opportunity. Nifo gets the DRS. They go to the outside line. They're going to have a clear move into turn 27. No questions asked. Samaxon, Peanuts on the exit. It's all going to be a run to the line. Devon's ahead. He is ahead of Nifo. All the way up. It's going to be Nifo crossing the line in P2. They go. Charlie will stay P3. After all of that, they get ahead of Devon Young, and Devon ends up P4. Wow. I need to calm down because that was a muddle of words. Devon Young to P4 by 2.6 seconds as everyone was battling a little bit too hard at the end there. And that's now a podium completely gone from the Red Bull driver. Samaxon is ahead of their teammate in the end. Peanuts doesn't get the job done. And it's going to be Verf who finishes ahead of Igor, and they settled it very closely with one another. That's for sure. Well, I say that actually, no, maybe not so close. But wow, that was an intense race. That was a long one, that's for sure. And that was a win for Zingy. Second win of the season for the Scotsman. They won in Singapore. They've had a pole in Austria. They haven't had another pole, but they've got that top spot and they've got those 20 points. Fastest lap there for Peanuts in the end. Zingy takes the win. Nifo in P2 to make it a 1-2 for Mercedes. And then we get Charlie in P3. Devon Young to P4. Sir Max on P5 recovering from the connection issues they had earlier. Peanuts is the fastest lap. Then we have Verf, Igor, PJ, Becken, and Tom Robb at the back with those pit stop issues. Gave it a good effort. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for them today. The race director is on your screen now, just in case we do need it. It is Saudi Arabia with some very difficult track limits, so we might need it, that's for sure. And we're going to go through the race director one more time, just in case, or at least the instant section one more time, just in case, as it is a long one. And then we will go back to the results. What a race we've just had. What a race indeed. And we will see you in a few moments' time for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews. That was the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Devon, we start with you. A tough one, of course. Before the pit stops, it was a pretty close one. Then it just didn't quite come together on the pit lane exit. Can you take us through?
Yeah, was I don't know. Was a decent race, I suppose. I wasn't expecting too much. I didn't do much practice. I didn't have much time today, so I wasn't expecting too much. But yeah, I think like you said, it went fine up until the pit stops. I was just sort of sticking behind like I usually try and do, and then wait until the first pit stop, which went okay. I kind of wanted to go a little bit longer. I had kind of fresh tires because of how much I was sitting back. I had like very little wear, but I just thought to play it safe, I'll pit with Nifo just so I definitely don't lose out on the train. Then yeah, coming out of the pits, obviously I sort of just lost control of the car. I don't really know what happened. I just had cold tires, and obviously I was pushing a little bit to get ahead of Zingy, and it was unfortunate. I sort of just slid straight into the wall and gave myself damage. So no one's fault except for mine. Not really annoyed about that, just a bit frustrated that I managed to do that to myself. But yeah, I think I was lucky that I stuck with Nifo. I don't know if Nifo also had damage or something, but we were sort of together, so didn't lose out too much time to Charlie. Obviously he had the penalty, so I was hoping not to lose out too much time, and then also not lose out too much time to some Maxon and Peanuts who were also catching. So I think with the damage, it was certainly making it a little bit frustrating to drive. And obviously it throws you off a lot, right? Because you do all the practice with no damage, and then you have damage, you have to sort of adjust a lot. So it's always a little tricky, a little bit distracting. But yeah, I think sort of just played it out until the end. Just didn't really think I'd make the position on Nifo, just because it seemed quite easy for him to stay in front when he wanted to. Obviously I was going to try. I managed to get ahead, and then I was just trying to sort of maybe give him a bit of pressure from behind, see if I could make something work, so that he didn't get in front. And then yeah, really unfortunate. I was obviously trying to get a very good exit out of the last, onto the last DRS zone, and maybe gave myself a little bit too good of an exit and ran wide. Ran wide on the curb, and yeah, I got a penalty. So that was, I'm not even going to say unfortunate, I'm just an idiot. I don't know what I was doing. I mean, yeah, I think it's like the pressure. There was a lot of pressure, and I was thinking, I really want to keep this position here if I can. So yeah, didn't really think much about like the upcoming corner that I was obviously going to go wide on, and with how quick I was going. So that was just, I don't really know. I wouldn't say I'm annoyed. I'm just like, once again, I'm just frustrated like with myself that I would do things like that. But you know what? I think with what happened in the race with the damage, and maybe I can be happy with a P4. Obviously, a P2 or whatever it could have been would have been better. But yeah, it's I'm not even, this time it's not unlucky. I'm not blaming it on luck. Everything I did was my own fault, really. I couldn't have. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate, but hey ho.
Yeah, I identified the problems already into the final, or not the final, the next race, Silverstone Home Grand Prix. Whether you're there or not, it's a sprint race. Do you like sprints?
Yeah, who doesn't like a sprint, man? It's always exciting. And yeah, obviously gives you a little bit more of a chance to make some points up in the championship. So I think it's definitely exciting. Silverstone, I mean, you don't get much better racing than Silverstone, so perfect place for a sprint. Certainly looking forward to that one. Maybe I'll have a little bit more time and a little bit more motivation to practice Silverstone, because it is a great circuit.
Awesome. Well, I hope it goes well for you. I hope you get that victory that you're hoping for, and we'll see you next time. Very good effort today. And we move on to Tom, just quickly dragging back in. Tom, that was a tough one. Of course, that very, very unfortunate incident right there with PJ, and then because it was so close to the pit lane, I believe the game didn't register that you needed a front wing change, and then that just kind of changed everything from there.
Yeah, definitely. I struggled the whole day with internet connections. Was really happy just to be driving today. Then first few laps, I was just stuck behind slower guys, and there was a gap. And as soon as with having a gap in Jeddah, just no chance to do anything else. So we're just re-driving in two different groups. And then the incident in lap 10 right before I wanted to box anyway is just really unlucky. PJ slightly getting oversteered the exit, tapping me slightly. So I get sent to the wall, getting yellow wing damage, and I just tried to get the wing repair on yes because I know it's just bugged. But because it was so a small time, it didn't manage to get to yes, so it was still an auto. Which just meant that they didn't change and I had to pit again. Yeah, and that ruined my last chances at a good position, which is just really unfortunate. And after that incident on the second stint, yeah, looking at my lap times, I was 3 to 4 tenths off Charlie's pace, who was I think in the DS trying with Zingy, while I had 0 DS. Which just shows how quick I was all the race day long. Which is just really sad that again, just stuff happens outside of my choices and so on. Yeah, probably could have at least been podium for me, maybe fighting for the win. And now because of small or a bit of unluck, I'm last over 20 seconds down.
Yeah, it's really a frustrating one. I think looking at the situation from just a short while before the race, you had the opportunity to get in and try and fight for the some good points. It didn't happen. You still ended up pointless in the end, but you gave it a good shot, and I think we should be happy with that one. So thank you very much for the efforts today there. Silverstone, it's a very different circuit, an open circuit, a great racing circuit. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of my favorite tracks. Well, not even my favorite track this game. I have great pace without struggling a lot with track limits and so on. I showed it in the summer season. I think it was a launching season. Last season I had struggled a bit because it was raining, but still my pace should be up there to fight again for top 5 places, I would say. So I've got a good chance, hopefully racing Heisch again, as well as the others, and then maybe getting points I feel like I deserve at some point this season.
It would be good for sure. I hope it goes well for you there next time, and obviously a track that you like, it should be good. I'm not going to tell Monza, hopefully Monza's not offended by you saying that. But thank you very much, Tom, and we'll see you next time. Great effort today. And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, it was an interesting strategy that actually kind of worked in the end. It was a difficult one, of course, though, with the breakup at the beginning of the race. You tried to make it work. Do you think it was still the right strategy to start on that hard tyre?
I mean, looking back, I could say that it was probably the wrong strategy, only because I felt like I was in the mix with the guys. I felt quite quick today. And if I would have been on those mediums, then maybe my start would have been different. I kind of didn't expect Devin to go so quickly onto a racing line, and I was braking quite late just to keep position. Didn't miss the apex or anything. It was just a slight tap. And then I just got bullied off track by Tom Brainer in the Red Bull going wide, where I had to take avoiding action and go super wide and just went down to last. And then I recovered quite well. I was actually really quick. Like I was on the hards. I think it was like lap 7 or something. I dropped DRS to Igor, which was quite shocking. I don't think he practiced too much for this race. I'm just gutted, or gathered, or whatever you say. There was so much potential. There was so much hope on this race. I felt very quick all weekend. I'm pretty sure I could have been in the mix. And then after losing the 7 seconds, I understood that the race is done. It's over. I'm never getting that back. I mean, you have Devin and Charlie, which are Devin and Nifogen, which were the two cars in front, and they're quite high tier drivers, and I highly doubted that they would make mistakes. Good teamwork with Simixon, but otherwise I'm super mad.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and I'm sorry to hear that one. On the upside, you do defend your team's championship lead, so I think you should be happy with that one to recover. Both the Ferraris did very well to recover to where they did today, so you should be proud of that one. Silverstone, do you think you can try and carry the good momentum pace-wise into that race?
Pace-wise, I've actually, in my opinion, been quite good around Silverstone. That is a track where I've done the stupidest decisions, most brain-dead decisions ever. Pace-wise, I was quite quick last time out. I got P3 in the wets. I would have said I was quick in VRL2, but that was a little bit. That one didn't feel like I was as quick. I didn't feel as motivated to push on. I felt good in the wet, so it was a fun one. But it's been historically a good track for me. Just I am extremely stupid and fucked it up every time.
Just breathe, relax. It will be okay. I do have to say as well, definitely can see that your performance is improving race by race. So you should be happy with that. Don't give up. Continue doing what you're doing, and it will work. Hopefully it goes well for you there. We've got a sprint, of course, so you've got 2 opportunities in that one to get that good result. Thank you very much, Peanuts. Really good effort today, and I hope it goes better in Silverstone.
Cheers, thanks.
And we move on to Maxon next. So Maxon, that's painful. That is very, very, very painful. Brilliant pace, brilliant performance. Second time consecutively getting pole this season, but also in Saudi Arabia, 2 poles in 2 seasons. Absolutely incredible stuff there. Connection issues, or was it like file integrity or something that had an issue? I don't quite know.
At the start of the race, my Wi-Fi just died, and then the game, when I restarted it, the game just crashed after joining the lobby, and then again after joining the lobby and actually being able to drive, the game was bugged, and as I said, I didn't get any messages at the top of my screen about getting track limits warnings, so I was just getting penalties for I didn't really knew what. And then after being last, I was just managing pace and moving slowly upwards to around at P5. When after the pits, Peanuts was on the mediums, and I would say he really had pace today, so we are trying to help each other to maybe catch up to Nifo and Devon, which were 10 seconds ahead. So it was, at the end we did manage to, but we just got, I would say, stupid penalties and weren't able to fight.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a difficult race from the early laps, of course, with those issues you had. And strangely, for Saudi Arabia, we didn't get a safety car, so it didn't really solve any of that. Of course, the bugs wouldn't have been solved by a safety car, but it would have at least brought you back in it a little bit easier. Still, good effort to get back into the race and score some good points. You hold on. I think... Wait, let me look at the result quickly. So you lose 10 points to Zingy, but you still lead the championship. Silverstone, it's a brilliant race circuit, and of course there is a sprint, so you'll get 8 points more up for grabs. Do you think you can do well there?
I think my pace on Silverstone was decent. I don't remember what happened in the PRL race. So I have to remember later.
P2.
And it was P2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember anything about that race really.
Fair enough. It was
When I heard that about, I don't remember who was it saying, but that we did a viral race on Silverstone. I just don't know when. Just don't know when.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm sure it will go great for you there, and I'm sure you'll be able to get some good points. Thank you very much, Sir Maxon, and I hope this connection issue is the last time that we'll see it come around. But yeah, thank you very much. Great effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Nifo eventually. Sorry, Nifo, for that one. I completely missed that one. I thought I already interviewed you. Definitely wasn't an accident. It was on purpose because I wanted to interview P2 and then P1 in order. Nifo, it was an interesting way of it going about, of course, because you were battling with, well, not P1 and P2, and you ended, well, P3. You've ended up getting that P2. I'm just completely bottling it. It was a really hard race, battling all the time, but a decent result in the end for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I had very low hopes going into it. I practiced a lot, and today, and I just lost all pace. I just didn't. I don't know where I could find. I tried different setups, different driving styles, everything. Nothing worked. As seen in quali, I still got P2 somehow. I don't know how, because I didn't even get close to what I was doing in TT or in quali practice, and it just went worse and worse. But you know, I took it, lost it immediately at the start. My teammate kindly pushing me out of the way, and then yeah, I mean, it was just basically a race to the pits. Like, you can't really do anything, and yeah, I mean, Zingy has priority. He was in front, and he's heading the championship, so he pits. But like, I saw that we could still be there if he pushed, so we pushed. And yeah, we had a chance to fight. Then yeah, Devon does what he does, and that's basically race over from there on out, because gets damaged. And yeah, I mean, he loses him in 3 corners, and even before the DRS gets opened, he's lost him. Yeah, at that point I try to salvage, but then he overtakes me again because of the DRS and the overspeed, and then I think the teamwork was a bit wrong if he knew that he had a damaged swing. And yeah, we just lose more time. And if I sit in front of him and don't let him overtake, I lose time because the cars behind are just DRS training. And if I let him go out front, I just lose time because he's losing time in every corner. So it was kind of a lose-lose. Like, no matter what I would do, like, I would lose the time to the cars in front and lose time to the cars behind. But you know, I still felt like, well, we still have like a large gap. Charlie has like a 9-second penalty, so there's a lot to salvage. And then the final few laps, he tries to do funny things, almost loses P2. Was way too close, in my opinion. I think if he just stayed ahead, it would have been probably fine. And he would have gone P3 instead of P4. But you know, I mean, I guess it's a try. I don't think it was the smartest thing to do, but I mean, it didn't work out for him. It worked for me, so I guess it's fine. But yeah, I was stressing a little bit. But yeah, the tactics worked. Got P2 in the end, and yes, probably my first good result in a bad form at the beginning of the season, which seems to happen all the time. But this season has been a little bit worse, so it's refreshing to have a good finish again.
Yeah, here's the switch. Now you can get some good results again. That'd be good.
Hopefully.
Let's. I just want to quickly ask a question. Hypothetically, were you to not lose the train and be in the battle at the end without any time penalties, and with Zingy, you won the sprint race last time around. You won the main race last time around. Would you go for that win ahead of your teammate to try and absolutely dominate this circuit and be the man, or would you let your teammate win for the championship?
Depends if there's a car. If there's a car in between us, I might just take it. But if it's just us, I feel like I have to just let him go. I'm not gonna, but it has to be in a safe way as well. Like if it's into the final corner, he's side by side. I'm not gonna brake test the car next to him. So it really depends. But if I
So
can, I will let
basically,
him
you'd
pass.
make it as unsafe as possible. And then
Exactly. I'll brake check everyone.
There you go. And then argue
Beware.
that you couldn't return the position. Thank you very
Exactly.
much for that one. Silverstone is next up. Last time we were at Silverstone, you took the championship. Do you think you can get a good result there next weekend and carry the good momentum from Saudi?
Well, it is one of my favorite tracks. I think results-wise, it has been one of my stronger tracks. But that is when it's dry. I think the moment a splash of water hits that track, my very non-existent talent doesn't seem to catch up with the other people. So, as long as it's dry, I think I have a good chance to get a good result again. If it's wet, I think the streak of bad races will probably continue. But let's just pray that the rain gods stay away and we can continue the good results from now on.
Yeah, well, I hope that Britland can try and sort their stuff out and we can have a dry race then. Thank you very much, Nifo. Really good effort, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
We move on to Zingy. Zingy, second win of the season, matching Charlie on the number of wins so far this season. That is a pretty good result in the end. I'm sure you're happy with that one.
Yeah, with qualifying, I bottled it. I should have been challenging, if not on pole, but which is what happens sometimes. But in the race, we got a bit lucky. I guess it's good karma from Australia. And Sim Maxon got disconnected, so me and those other guys ran away. Of course, Devin got damage, and we just kind of went from there. Me and Charlie, she was quick the whole race. So just pulling away with them, and basically towards the end, I was trying to pull away, see if I could get Charlie any more penalties. But at that point, Charlie was just so focused, and I couldn't really do much. I got away in like the last few laps, and that's what I had to do. It's quite simplistic, and it's basically just what you see on the screen. It's just having to push as hard as you can without getting penalties and creating your own luck, which is what you said last week.
Indeed. And now I'm just quickly calculating something. I believe you may be in the lead, if not level, according to the Singapore reports, not the Monza reports. I believe you're level in the championship with Ferrari, and you are now, I think that's about 4 points behind Samaxon in the Drivers' Championship. So it's a pretty good weekend from you there. Silverstone, you won there last time. It was raining. I'm not going to ask if you like it or not. I'm not going to ask if it's your home Grand Prix or not. I'm going to ask, do you want it to rain or do you want it to be dry?
I think rain opens up the skill gap a bit more, and I think with that I could probably win it. But in the dry, it's just going to be a DRS train, so it's going to be tough either way, I think. But at the same time, a rainy race at Silverstone is one of the best things you can get, so I hope it does rain for my sake.
Thank you very much, and you really well done today. Congratulations, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thought I messed up that interview then. I don't know what I was. I was all over the place. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. We will see you next weekend for the British Grand Prix for a sprint race event. That's going to be awesome with the one-shot qualifying as well. It's going to be very intense. And then, of course, the break after that to recharge and go again for another stint of racing. Thank you very much once again. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.